How's your day been, Siobhan?
Good, good. We had our upstate premiere of the movie last night in
Right,
upstate New York.
right.
Thank God we missed the storm.
Uh-huh.
And we had the premiere Friday in New Jersey. So we're rocking and rolling.
Right. So everybody is talking about your latest movie, Rushed, where you got out of your typical comical characters and went on for a very serious role. Um,
Yes.
and you've also done the uh, production for it, you've written it, and you're also a part of the cast.
That's
So,
right.
yeah, so it's immensely impressive that, you know, even after
Thank you very
25
much.
years of being in the industry, you
Yes.
you have that uh, spark to, you know,
Well, I
just keep on
appreciate it.
going, just keep on going. Yeah,
Thank you so much. You know, as you said, I've been in the industry for 35 years. I did a lot of comedy, Saturday Night Live, Men in Black,
yeah,
Seinfeld. And I was lucky early on to have Avi Kaufman, who cast Rushed. She put Robert Patrick from the Terminators in it,
yeah.
Jake Weary from Animal Kingdom.
Mhm.
And I sent the movie over to Lars von Trier in Denmark because I had done 3 movies with him.
Right, sure.
And they suggested I have Vibeke Musaya direct from Denmark. She was fabulous. And Lars co-produced. His company is
Nice.
Entropa.
Yeah.
So I had just done The House That Jack Built with Matt Dillon. I've been to other films with him with Lauren Bacall and
Hmm.
Nicole Kidman and
Wow.
Dogville and Dancer in the Dark with Bjork. But so I was lucky to be able to cross over from comedy. And I
Right.
decided to write my own script and
Hmm.
call up everybody I'd known over the years who I loved and have them work on it.
Right.
And I have 3 kids. So they're in their 20s and I would still have a teenager. And, you know, every mom worries about their kid when they go out. So it's the story of it's a revenge thriller. And it is the story of a mom who goes toe to toe with a frat boy after her son goes off to college and
Right.
she doesn't like what happens to her son.
Uh-huh.
And we've been really lucky because
And the
the reviews.
rest is,
Hmm?
and the rest we will see in the movie.
That's right. And
No spoilers,
people,
huh?
that's right. No spoilers. You can follow the movie on Instagram or Facebook
Uh-huh.
at Rushed Movie. And we have
Right.
rave reviews if you go on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
And people are just really loving it. Thank God.
Uh-huh. I'm here with all my research.
Yes.
Yes. So, if I'm not wrong, uh, your career in acting started from the film Greedy.
Greedy was my first movie with Kurt Douglas and Michael J. Fox. Phil
Hmm.
Hartman from Saturday Night Live played my husband. And
Right.
on Greedy, I met Mary Ellen Zemeckis, and Mary Ellen Zemeckis' husband
Right.
directed Forrest Gump. So that's how I got
Exactly.
Forrest Gump. I went and auditioned for
Uh-huh.
that. And yeah, and then I did Men in Black. And I wrote a one-woman show when I was in my 20s.
Exactly.
And I did it in LA, and Seinfeld came and Saturday Night Live came. So that's how I got
Right.
those 2 shows. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So my personal preference for interviewing you and the excitement is because I seriously love Forrest Gump.
Oh,
It's a movie that I watch almost at least once a month. It's a
yes.
very, very amazing movie.
It's a beautiful story. And interestingly enough, I'm sure you know this, Tom Hanks and Bob Zemeckis, they didn't get the money that they wanted for it. So they said, okay, we'll take points. And who was smarter than them? Because they believed in their project.
Yeah,
And it's just like with my movie Rushed, when I called Robert Patrick up, who makes a hefty paycheck, does the Terminator, Walk the Line, many movies, and Jake Weary from Animal Kingdom, they believed, they were like, Siobhan, I'll do this, even though they were getting peanuts for it.
yeah,
Forrest Gump was the same way. I mean, it was like they didn't believe in that as much as Bob
uh-huh,
did and Tom. And when I went in for that movie to audition, I
right,
originally went in for a part where you just knock at the door and come in the room. And I
uh-huh,
said to Bob Zemeckis, no, I want to play the bus drivers, young and old, because I took the bus my whole life. And I
uh-huh,
had this great bus driver named Betsy Benfeld.
right,
She drove our bus. and
Hmm.
I'm one of five. And my sister Mary, she'd fool around on the bus, fool around the bus. I was about in third grade, and I told on her, and I said, Dad, Mary is fooling around on the bus. And my father said, you're in trouble for tattling, and you're in trouble for fooling around on the bus. And we had to write her sorry notes. And so, I know the bus culture. So I was like, I want to be the bus driver. And he was like,
Exactly.
absolutely. So that's what happened.
Some things you from your childhood you can never forget.
It's unbelievable. And,
Some things and some people from your childhood, your teachers, your uh, like you mentioned, your bus driver, you never forget them.
I'm sorry, I'm giving water to my dog. I just looked at her bowl and it was empty.
No
Yeah,
problem.
my little dog Trudy's there. So,
Uh,
yes, you don't forget them,
yes,
and they influence so much of what you do.
exactly.
Um, in my movie Rushed, you see the opening scene with the family, and it is a funny family, but then
Uh-huh.
something horrible happens, and I think there's something so interesting when really horrible things happen to funny people.
Right.
And so you'll see in the beginning of Rushed where I'm saying to the girls, pull your skirts down, you look like hookers. And then she's faced with terrible troubles. And
Right.
how does a very funny person handle tragedy,
Exactly.
Yes. But Forrest Gump too, you know, Bob Zemeckis and Barry Sonnenfeld, who I did Men in Black with,
Yeah.
and Andy Davis, who I did Holes with, and
Hmm.
Jordan Kerner, who I did Charlotte's Web, and I just did Clifford the Big Red Dog. But
Uh-huh.
these are people that reuse, they have actors come back. It's more like a company. Barry
Exactly.
Sonnenfeld, I was in two of his movies.
Uh-huh.
Jordan Kerner was in two of his movies. So in my movie, I used people that I knew weren't divas and jerks. And
Exactly.
all of them are great people.
Uh-huh.
And I'm doing another film that I wrote in 3 weeks because we
Right.
just opened Friday night on August 27th, rushed it in
Uh-huh.
all theaters across the country and on all the video platforms, Apple, Amazon, all those.
Right.
And coming back for my next movie, Robert Patrick will play the warden. So he'll be
Uh-huh.
back. And the director, Vivica Musaya, is back, and our cinematographer is back. Because when you treat people right
Yes.
and they like your artwork or your vision,
Exactly.
they'll come back and work with you again. And I learned that from the best of
Yeah.
them, from Lars von Trier, from Barry
Yeah.
Sonnenfeld, Bob Zemeckis. I was really lucky. And Andy Davis.
Hmm. Um, so, uh, did the camera freeze or something?
What's that?
I thought the camera freezed. Sorry.
Oh, maybe it did.
Yeah.
I hope it didn't
So,
freeze when I looked weird.
so yeah. So, Siobhan, you've been in so many movies that if I start to, list down, uh, I think we'll just be mentioning movies, right?
Yes.
So, so in '94, you were working really hard. Like you did Greedy, you did Forrest Gump, you did Only You.
Only You, yes. With
Yes.
Marissa Tomei and
Ex-
Robert Downey Jr. I love
Yeah.
that because Norman Jewison, he was the greatest director. And the crew was from Italy because
Right.
they were going to Italy halfway through the movie. And everybody used to yell, motore, motore. And the Italians were hysterical. They would drink wine. As soon as the sun went down, they would be drinking wine on the set filming.
Uh,
They really know how to do it.
right.
And the Danish do too. When I did the Lars von Trier movies, every Friday night they'd have champagne for the crew. And they really knew how to treat their cast and crew. And that's what I learned from the European way was, it's like doing a play where everyone has the same vision and the same goal.
Right.
And there's none of this hierarchy where, you treat the stars better than you treat the prop guy or better than
Right.
you treat, different people on the set, the grips,
Exactly.
because you all have the same goal and no
Right.
one's better than anyone else. You know what I mean?
Absolutely right.
So that's what I learned from,
That's
and that's
very,
the way I ran my
that's
set when we did it.
that's great. That's great.
Mhm.
That's a great culture, and I believe we all should, respect
Right,
one
because
another. Yeah.
absolutely. When I first started, I didn't work consistently as an actress. I was a receptionist in a law firm, Then I went to LA, and when I did a one-woman show out there, that's the one that Seinfeld and Saturday Night Live came to.
Right.
I had no money. I was teaching English as a second language.
Yeah.
And my students were from South, I had students from South America. And I was down to the end for this Carol Burnett show. And of course, I loved Carol Burnett. And I said to the kids, they weren't kids, they were 18 to 25. And I said to them, I was 28. They thought I was ancient. They were so worried that I wasn't married. They were like, when it was my birthday, they bought me a curling iron and a dress and makeup. They're like, this girl's got to get married. She's like, she's getting old. So, because they get married a little younger in that culture.
Yeah.
So they said, I said, everyone, I won't be here tomorrow. And I was sort of gloating, I think, or I was sort of saying, look at me. I am down to the end for the Carol Burnett show. And they all kind of stared at me blankly. And this woman, Stella, raised her hand. She was from El Salvador.
Right.
And she said, who is Carol Burnett? And it struck me so funny because I thought in the United States, you think, oh, you know, you met so-and-so and you got to talk to them. That makes you important. And Carol Burnett obviously is fabulous and unbelievable. But in other words, here in the United States, I feel like we kind of idolize people. And instead of idolizing how you treat people or how they act or, you know, the important things, like it always strikes, like after the movie opened Friday night, you know, and last night we had a premiere in upstate New York. People are like, oh, can I take my picture with you? Can I do this? But there was a guy there who I've known for a long time who served 7 tours, you know, Iraq, Afghanistan. And I said, wait a minute. I want to say who's the real person you should be taking a picture with. Colonel McKee. And I called him up because I thought, you know, other people do such more important things than I do pretending I'm someone else for a living. But I'm extremely grateful for it and feel so lucky. And I feel like writing this script of Rushed, you know, I got to finally be on the other side of it instead of just sitting in my trailer and waiting for someone to knock at the door and saying, okay, Siobhan, it's your turn. I really got to see, how do you employ people? How do you treat them when they're employees? How do you treat them the way you want to be treated? And I think that's why everyone's coming back for the next movie.
Exactly. I think in business, it's more important to create relationships because at the end, it is the trust that matters in business transactions and everything.
Absolutely.
Until you don't trust the other person, you'll always be skeptical and you'll always be anxious if things are going to go right or wrong. So,
Right.
so
And if you're
integrity and
honest,
trust, relationship building is
absolutely.
more important than numbers and, you know,
Yes. If you're
paperwork.
honest, if you respect someone's work, if you let them have input, like if you're not an egomaniac, like for example, our editor, Sabine Emiliani from France, she's fabulous.
Right.
And when I went to France, I thought one of the big fears is I am the star of the movie. I don't want to be such an egomaniac that I'm like, oh, I like that right there when I cried. Wasn't I good? But if it doesn't go with the story and the editor's like, too much, let's get rid of you. I have to let my ego stay at the door. You know what I mean? For the story of the movie.
Right.
Yes.
So it is like that at some places where they write, leave your ego outside with the shoes.
Yes. I remember my father was very funny. And if we'd be at restaurants and things, people say, oh, were you Elaine's roommate in Seinfeld? Oh, were you on Saturday Night Live? Am I bothering you? And my father say, bothering her? Don't you know what actors are like? They're egomaniacs. He said, if she left this restaurant and someone didn't say anything to her night, she'd be depressed. I'd be like, shut up, Dad. Yeah.
Yeah. So it seems like you were close to your dad.
I was very close with my father and very close with my mom. My mom just passed away in March. She was 96. She was totally with it.
So sorry
And
for your loss. So sorry.
Thank you. But you know what? She was ready and she was very faithful. And you know, sometimes your body starts to break down so much that you're like, she'd say to me, Siobhan, I'd go in the room. She'd be laying on the bed and she'd have her rosary. And she'd say, do me a favor, will you?
Yeah.
Because, you know, in this movie, I pray the rosary and I and I swear my face off when I'm also praying because my kids are late for school.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of a real look at life. It's
Right.
like, you can be, oh, isn't that person great because they pray? But
Yeah.
if you're really a real person, you can pray and also be not have exemplary behavior. But I
Exactly.
remember I'd go in my mother's room. Here she was 96. She was 2 months away from being 97.
Uh-huh.
Mom, what would you like? I'd like to get out of here.
Uh-huh.
I said, Mom, would you like to exit stage left? What does that mean? I said, well, they always say that. She says, I don't care if I exit stage left or stage right. Just say your prayers that I'll get out of here, would you? This has gone on too long. She wasn't
Right.
depressed. She thought I'm done. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Sometimes
Yeah.
the pain and the disease is so prolonged that
Yes.
the patient no longer wants or has the will to, bear the pain anymore. They just want to
Yes.
get done with the meds. They just want to
Yes.
get done with everything. So yeah,
Yes. And it's a really a beautiful chapter that you sort of are fearful of your whole life. You're like, oh no, no, what's going to happen? But it's when that time comes, and we were really lucky because she really only was really sick for about a week. But to have that time with her, my whole family, I have 3 sisters and a brother, and my aunt, her sister was there, was 88. I mean, she was her little sister,
yeah,
her baby sister. My mom was 96, and to have that time with her was unbelievable. But she was like, Siobhan, she knew she was dying, and she said, good luck with the movie. It's really something. It's really top shelf. So that was really great,
that kind
because
of
she got to,
confidence from parents is,
yes.
everlasting. Beautiful.
Well, it's funny when you say that kind of confidence. And what I've learned too is on the set,
Uh-huh.
the director directs, but I would go up to actors and I'd say, you're great. You're so
Right.
good. Because, I always felt like I'm like a kid where all you had to do is pat me on the back and say, you're great. You're great. It's funny. It's funny. Or that's really dramatic. I love
Mhm.
that. And then like, oh, it is, because you just want to be told in a constructive criticism, but then encouraged. And then your best work comes out.
True, true.
Yes.
Um, so, Siobhan, like you mentioned earlier, that you were in the company of really great and clean people. So,
Yes.
uh, you were also in Striptease, which was as Rita Grant, which was released in '96, and
Yes.
I don't know how many years it's been, but no one's forgotten Striptease. So,
No. Well, I will say in my defense, I was the only non-stripper. I was the only one who was a stripper in the whole movie.
yeah.
And, you know, I met Robert Patrick,
Uh-huh.
and that's when I met him. And that's when he plays my husband in Brushed. He plays my brother in a new movie coming out. And I've been in many things with him. And, that movie, the reason why I did it, because I was very selective about many movies that I did, was because I thought it was a compassionate story about a woman who wanted to support her child and didn't pick, obviously, the most respectable career in any way,
Exactly.
but it made you see a side that where you see people get so desperate to make the right kind of money to raise their children. And she wasn't doing the right thing, but I thought it was interesting.
She wasn't doing the right thing, but when you,
Desperate measures.
yeah, but what I take from the movie is that she had to, protect her child. She
That's
didn't
right.
have any money, so
She didn't have any
yeah,
money.
yeah.
And it's sad. It's a sad story, really, because
And sorry to,
and
so, please continue. Sorry.
no, it's just sad to see that someone has to go to that level to
Yes,
support their child.
exactly. And in real life as well, there are so many examples where women have to, have no
Yes,
choice because
I know.
their children are, uh, you know, the most important thing in their lives, more important than their own self-respect.
Yes, yes. Isn't that sad? And
Yeah,
you'd think in the United States, we'd be beyond that, but a lot of places aren't. And that's why when you get to my stage of the game, and I've traveled a lot,
Uh-huh.
fortunately, with being an actress, and you just think about these women in these other countries and in our country that have to go to those measures.
Right. It's pretty sad. I wish things were better, um, but I don't know.
I know we just have to all work to try to improve
Yeah,
life, right?
yeah.
Yes.
I think we all should, um, like they say, when God raises your standard of living, uh,
Yes.
raise your standard of giving.
Oh, I love that.
Well,
Raise your standard of living, then raise your standard of giving. That's great.
yes, yeah.
That should be on a billboard
Put
or
it
a
on,
t-shirt.
put it on,
I love that.
and
I
put my
love that.
name under it.
You should put yes, you should brand it, as they
Uh-huh.
say.
Get it
That's
patent.
great. What's that?
Get it patent.
Yes, get a patent. Exactly. Exactly. See, my upstate accent, I'm like, get a patent. Because in upstate New York, you have funny accents.
Right. So, Siobhan, uh, did you feel any discomfort or something like you'd be um, judged because of, acting in striptease?
Yes, definitely.
Was it scary? Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
I had just had my first child, Bernadette, who's now 26.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, oh boy, you know, I mean, look, I was very happy. I was very grateful to the people that cast me. Do I regret it? I didn't play a stripper, but I should have looked at the story more carefully, and I should have been more of an example. Hey, everybody makes mistakes,
Of
right?
course.
Even though, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, it's the mistakes that make life fun.
Right. And you don't get on your high horse saying, oh, I've always made all the best decisions, because I haven't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Hmm.
totally understand. So,
Yes.
another thing that really impresses me about you, Siobhan, is that you've been in, very, very special movies. Uh, like Men in Black was an amazing movie with an amazing concept, and at the time it was a very new subject that people uh, kind of really liked, and it was very, very different storyline, aliens and space travel and time travel and uh, all of that. So that movie has its own place. Now, Forrest Gump, for example, is a evergreen movie. Then The Negotiator, where you've had a role, is also a very, very popular movie. Plus, it's very well known for its action and the suspense and the thrill that is all aligned in the movie. Uh, and then again, if I may mention one more movie, that is a Daddy Daycare, which is like totally, you know, comedy.
Yes.
But
With Eddie
yeah,
Murphy.
yeah, Eddie Murphy. So, but it was, it's a classic. People watch it even today.
Yes,
So,
oddly, I've done a lot of children's movies. A Daddy Daycare, Charlotte's Web, Holes. Now I'm
yeah,
in Clifford the Big Red Dog, which is coming
you
out.
played the role of the mother in The Holes, right?
Yes, with Henry Winkler. That was
Yeah,
Shia LaBeouf's mother. Yeah,
yeah,
I love that. It's
yeah,
so fun. And
yeah.
like I said, Andy Davis, who directed that,
Yeah.
when I finished Rushed, I
Uh,
sent him a rough cut of it. And
uh,
he was like so supportive and so great. And he's always been so supportive.
right.
So he's one of my favorites for sure, directors.
Uh-huh. So, Siobhan, if there's one thing about Hollywood that you would like to change, what would it be?
Well, I think that I think that when you work, that the crew should be treated the same as the cast, because I think we're all for one and one for all in these projects.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's what's right. I think that's the right thing. Just
Uh-huh.
like a play. I came from theater.
Right.
That's the way I've always learned how to operate.
Right. And anybody that comes from the theater is usually very, very, what do I say, fluent with their acting, because in theater, there are no, retakes and anything else.
Yes. That's
So,
why I love the stage, because you never know what's going to happen. And
exactly.
also when I did my film and I wrote the script and the last script, I allow for improvising. I'm like, okay, let's do it as written. Like, I'm not too much of an ego that I'm like, okay, well, only say my words, do what's written, and then let's do it how we want to do it. You know what I
Right.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good approach, and
Yes.
thankfully, you don't have a big ego. And I believe probably that's the reason why you've come so far, and you still have your, you know,
Thank you
place
so much.
place in the industry.
Thank you so much. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah. I totally want to thank you for, Forrest Gump. Uh,
Oh, thank you.
I just can't explain the kind of attachment I have with that
That's
movie.
awesome.
It's
Well, you
awesome.
have good taste. You have great taste. And I want to thank you for having me on your show too. This to
Yeah,
promote Rushed. It just means so much to me.
yeah,
And if you tell all your fans and followers to be sure if they go to that trailer, because the trailer is unbelievable, and share it with everybody and say, support the independent films, because in the independent films, there's not a lot of cooks like the
exactly.
Hollywood movies where there's like 10 producers telling you what to do. This is a pure idea. And that's why it did so well, because no one was saying, do this, do that. It was up to me to make the decisions. And that's like the old Hollywood style, the way
Uh-huh.
Billy Wilder and all the old people did it
Right,
in the old studios.
right.
So if people can really get out there and support the film at Rushed Movie, go to
Uh-huh.
the trailer, see Jake Weary in it from Animal Kingdom. He's fantastic. See Robert Patrick. He's
Right.
out of this world. Perry
Uh-huh.
Gilpin from Frasier. She's
Uh-huh.
unbelievable. Rusty Schwimmer and Andrea Suarez Paz. And Justin Linville. They're so good.
Right,
JJ Warren, who plays my son, is fabulous.
right. So once I watch Rush, I will definitely write a review on it, and
Thank you.
I will let you know about it, and
Please
send it
do.
to you, of
Please,
course.
please do. And when
Yeah.
I do my next film, I'd love to be on your podcast again.
Oh, of course. You will be invited.
Thank you very much.
Um, Thanks for giving Screen Bench the time for your interview. We really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. And this is a personal favorite celebrity.
Uh,
So it feels really good. Uh, I don't know how the time passed, and thank you for your time, and we
thank
really
you very
appreciate
much.
it. You're always
All
welcome.
right.
Welcome to screenbench.com, and let us all know about the upcoming projects that you do, and we'll always have a live session, and talk about it.
Thanks a million. You have a great day, and we'll definitely meet again. Thanks a million.
Definitely, definitely, we'll meet again. You stay safe, and take
And
care of
everybody
yourself.
watch Rushed,
Yeah, everybody watch Rush, or or
or else I'll find you.
or else I'll find you. I don't know who you are, where you are, but I'll find you.
I will find you. Can download it, or it's on all open theaters. Thanks a
Right,
million.
right,
Thanks for talking to me. I appreciate it.
right.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.